welcome to the 86th Special Moves podcast. My name is Mike Williams. These guys are Jake Kulkowski and Liam McKelvey.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, gamers.
Great. Right. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about... well, I mean, there have been some incidents this week, I would argue. There's been some games.
Is that right, detective?
Yeah. And I want you guys, my best guys, on the case. It's been pretty eventful in terms of like the stuff around games, I reckon, hasn't it? It's been
man.
Oh yeah.
So much of that is my job as well, right? So
yeah,
I legitimately did feel like a detective. I've got to tell you, at the beginning of my week this week, I was poring over 70 sexual assault allegations because it's like really important that you stay on top of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's how I started my day: drinking a coffee, reading crime reports. So it's not. I'm not a million miles away from a detective at that point.
The cancelled report, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The blacklist. Yeah.
Crossing these fuckers out.
You know, it's been a crazy dynamic. Not one that's very shocking, really.
Yeah.
I can't say truthfully that I've seen anything like that really myself in person. Whenever I've gone to events, and I've gone to a fair few of the last year or so, with work, it's normally, and I guess because I work a lot with press rather than the kind of personalities that kind of incite and partake in this behavior. Really, I don't really.
What was it? If you're listening to this and you have no idea what we're talking about, it's
all right. So the kind of timeline of events is this: very popular Destiny player and esports commentator was outed as being Predator. Then that kind of spawned a chain reaction of, well, what I can only really describe as like a Me Too movement inside the games industry. Now, the majority of these people are kind of esports pros that are, being accused, but there's also streamers have been involved, industry professionals,
like prominent people, like in the sense that you've heard of them, like
lots of blue ticks on Twitter, gamers. So if you've got a blue tick just by playing Destiny, you must have done a big job of it. But then you've got literally CEO of PR companies from America. You've got like Ubisoft community managers and. There's been a bunch. It's just been this weird atmosphere in the games industry over the past few months. Since George Floyd's death and the Black Lives Matter movement kind of had there was a gaming take of it. Sort of pushing the diversity of content creation to the forefront again, and then on top of that, like mentioning about the institutional racism of loads of these game companies, right? Which led to a comment from a Mixer partner. The Mixer partner made a tweet thread saying like Mixer the Black Experience, where he shared some really bad stuff that some of the Mixer like higher ups were saying. Here's the direct quote. As the Mixer partner manager, the person in charge of lots of these partner accounts, they said that they felt like a slave master and that the Mixer partners were their property, which led to this massive kickoff in Mixer, on top of a lot of other things that have happened in Mixer. Phil Spencer said on Twitter, "Leave it with me. I'm looking into this personally."
Which is the kind of thing that only people like Darth Vader says. So when Phil Spencer's going, I am going to fly my shuttle right into the middle of the fucking problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. When the Emperor steps down off his war elephant. Yeah. So then, there was a lot of hashtag clean up the industry type talk. Mixer, I don't know how tasteless it is for me to say this, but this is the way I have been describing it to people and how people have been describing it to me who are Mixer partners.
Okay.
I feel like they took the easy way out. They basically committed suicide with this. They realized that there was a lot of problems on a lot of levels where they are, from the racism at the top and holding this woman accountable, because it's a woman who said it, somebody so high up, which is already a big betrayal of trust, building trust up, pushing the right people forward. Mix has always been seen as very America-centric as well. I would say, and this is genuine because there's not many of them, I know about 80% of all full-time Mixer partners in Europe quite well, like very well. And they all complain that it's too America-centric. Look at this. For people who are watching, this is a meme. I have a Mixer partner beanie. I've never streamed on Mixer.
I've never seen that in my life.
I got this because I know some of the Mixer staff in America.
Why haven't you worn it before?
There's people I know who have been streaming for years that don't have one of these because they live in Europe. I went to America and I've got a Mixer staff T-shirt downstairs. Yeah. That's on eBay next week. No, it's not really, but
yeah, it's like an interesting artifact now, isn't it? It's going to be a rare item now.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, Mixer said, "Listen, on July, I think it's the 22nd or something like that, we're gone."
Yeah.
Mixer's going to redirect to Facebook.gg, which is the gaming sub branch of Facebook, and with that, everyone who's a Mixer partner will be offered partnership with Facebook Gaming. Okay? Not everybody wanted that. About 15% of everybody who's a Mixer partner is moving over. Nearly everybody is moving over to Twitch, which says a lot about Facebook Gaming. They were offered a partnership slot, which is like a very, it's like the blue tick of that. They'll get a bigger cut of ad revenue. Facebook Gaming have even offered to pay £2,500 to existing partners to stay with them for 3 months, to help them with the transition of moving their fans over. So they're going to be paying, $600 a month for the first 3 months. And yet people are still, fuck no, I'm going straight to Twitch.
Yeah.
So that's happened this week. Mixer partners are like the dwarves. They've had to leave Erebor. Everyone's kind of feeling sorry for them. They're refugees. They're looking for places to go. And they have a home. They've been offered Facebook. But what's so weird is so many of them aren't taking it. Mm-hmm. And that's very... I know why. I know exactly why. There's like 5 reasons why. The number one reason why is that you don't have any access to your back-end data, which is like what people like me look for a lot when you're streaming. If I speak with a Facebook gaming partner, I don't have any idea how many concurrent viewers they had, what was their total watch time, the max viewers that they received. I think the only thing that I know is how long they streamed for, and that's just because it's on the VOD, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah. But I don't even think Facebook partners have full access to that, because that would mean getting access to Facebook's back end and algorithms and stuff. And if that was given, maybe a clever engineer of software could like reverse engineer it and figure stuff out about Facebook's Fort Knox a thing. And every time someone does peer into Facebook's algorithm, you get a massive scandal. So for these reasons, there's no access to that sort of thing. And it's also the big thing, I think, for a lot of people is that, especially people who are pushing content that's a bit more family friendly or diverse or, LGBTQ friendly and whatnot. A lot of their fans will watch them because it's a bit of an escape from their life. That's the truth of the matter. And on Facebook, you're forced to use your real name. The measures in place for Facebook now, you can't make your name Mike Lol anymore. Do you know what I mean?
I would have definitely done that. Right,
totally, yeah. So you have to use your real name, and also, just think about like a 15-year-old lad who's going to be like following loads of like quote unquote titty streamers. Their mum might see it, but really they can't be called Dr. Cool Mundo 4269 on fucking Facebook, can they? Their name is fucking Jared. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, they've all been moving over to Twitch, but Twitch have actually like done something that they don't normally do. They have basically granted partnership to most of the full-time Mixer partners here in Europe, which is fantastic news. But yeah, Mixer, it's weird. Since last June, I put a lot of time into Mixer. I'm like I say, I know loads of them because I took a great interest in it. I think that like making it over there in Mixer was hard at first, but now they've established fan bases that are like really nice compared to a lot of Twitch fan bases, and it seemed like a better environment over there. It was very, very small, but they were getting some real big cuts of the watch time, and like Mixer had some cool features that put a fire under Twitch's arse, really, and Like they had like nearly zero latency streaming. Like it was nearly real time, and that forced Twitch to do it. And there's other changes that aren't public yet that
So
Twitch are working.
No danger of Microsoft kind of going, maybe we'll give it another go with a different name in a few years or a couple of years. Do you reckon this is completely like they'll just leave it as it is now? Or?
I don't think so. The reason I don't think so is that Microsoft acquired Mixer. It was originally called Beam.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't Mixer already the second go at it?
Yeah, exactly. But all of the groundwork was laid out by Beam.
Oh.
Beam.
Which was a company. Microsoft acquired them. So this is Microsoft's acquisition, and all the groundwork was laid out for them. They didn't have to create all the API library and stuff in the back from scratch, right? So them starting again totally from scratch, I don't know. They did try a lot of stuff on Mixer. Some of it worked really well, but just wasn't getting any growth. Ultimately, it was like Facebook gaming, where I'm probably give me if you give me a 3% leeway, I would say 92% of all Mixer traffic is GTA, Fortnite, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Minecraft. Seriously, like it's where most of it is. Like not even games that are big on Twitch, like Escape from Tarkov, do well over there, or Hearthstone or whatever. Like it's like Facebook gaming. If you go on Facebook gaming now, the majority of partners are Fortnite or GTA 5. So variety streamers moving over to Twitch from Mixer are going to have a much better life, and I'm looking forward to seeing them adapt. But to me, what's so weird about it is it's like kind of the first time this has happened. It's not an unusual thing at all for people in the business world. Being made redundant is a very common thing. If Tesco laid off staff, you'd have to go and work at Sainsbury's or Asda's or whatever, innit? Walmart. But you don't really get that. And it's a weird risk for a content creator because they haven't got many transferable skills, and you wouldn't expect the whole website to just go under. But the truth of the matter is they've been given their 4 weeks notice. It was sprung on everybody, even the staff. And now they have to apply for partnership in other places. And it's just kind of a fascinating turn of events, and something I don't think you'll see in a very long time. This is like, YouTube just going, right, we're off. See you on Vimeo,
Yeah. Or maybe Vimeo going, right, we're off. We'll see you on YouTube.
Yes, definitely. So that's happened this week, and some of the prevalent Twitch streamers have been banned permanently, like Dr. Disrespect. And there's talks of a new streaming service in the works, which we will find out about tomorrow. So wait and see. Well, wait, today, the day of this, you'll see it on the news.
The day of this? Today? So there's been some games stuff as well, I guess. I saw a lot of tweets about Cyberpunk, but I didn't do anything about it. There's some new gameplay trailer.
What are you gonna do about it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't watch any. So there's new Cyberpunk gameplay. I'm not hugely interested or excited by this game at the moment. But I don't know. I guess it's one of those that is, it's just been hovering in the distance as like one of the big games on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Along with Last of Us and stuff. So, what was all this about? Was it a lot of gameplay or what? What was it?
So it was a couple days ago. It was meant to be last week. CD Projekt had their first event called Night City Wire, which is just like a sort of dev diary update sort of thing about the game. Mm-hmm. And they showed off a new trailer. They put out a bunch of B-roll for people to use in like impressions videos and stuff, and select YouTubers, reviewers, critics, whatever. They got a 4-hour demo to play of Cyberpunk, where they could do just a bit of everything, like bit of questing, bit of character creation, bit of exploration and all that. And so it was like, it's the first proper look at the gameplay we've had since that, do you remember that big, like, hour-long demo they put out, like, a year and a half ago or whatever?
Yeah, which I kind of found slightly off-putting for various reasons. So, have things moved on?
Personally, I thought... Cause I watched quite a few different people's impressions on it, like, so I feel like I've got a decent enough grasp on it, but, like, it looked pretty much the same, to be honest, as that hour-long demo they put out, except I think a lot of the reactions I've seen to it from the public, not like the impressions and stuff from like critics, but the public response to it has been a bit lukewarm, I guess. Like, just like people saying like the world looks quite empty. Like, just there was like some of the gameplay was like just driving around the world, and there was like barely any NPCs or cars or anything about, and a nightclub which had like a total of 12 people in it, which sort of put to, you know, when the game's meant to be set in this like bustling metropolis, it's a bit of sort of ruins the atmosphere a bit, I guess. And the shooting in it, because they didn't have a lot of like combat in it. They had a bit of melee combat, like hand to hand, which looked quite clunky, like it didn't have any impact, and the shooting looked very like just very sort of like serviceable. Like it didn't really have any impact, was what I felt. Like watching it, it just felt like it just felt sort of like limp a bit. Like someone gets shot with like blasted with a shotgun, and they just sort of like fall over.
Yeah,
and it's like
which compared to The Last of Us 2, where literally fragments of their skull peels off their face. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything's
Have you shot someone in the knee in The Last of Us 2?
Oh, it's horrific.
I'm only interested in taking the heads off, aren't I?
Well, you should think about the knee, because it's just this added layer of hellish screams. If you're interested,
there was a bit in The Last of Us 2 where this is probably the only bit of violence in The Last of Us 2 that actually surprised me, to be honest. Was I shot a guy and it hit him in his arm, but his arm just came off. That was the only bit of like, for a game that was all about the impact of your actions. That was the only bit that actually like made me sort of like get taken aback a bit. But yeah, like
has he named his arm and he's gone Derek?
Maybe. Like the big thing that really dampened my enthusiasm anyway about this Cyberpunk gameplay was every single dialogue option in it. The character is just like this unbelievable, like your player character V is this unbelievably douchey edgelord. Like every single response is like, it's either you're like punching someone in the face and then calling them a motherfucker, or like a snarky reaction. Like someone will just say, "Hey, how can I help you?" And it'll be like, and you'll just reply to them in like calling them a dickhead and telling them to give you all the money now and stuff like that. And like,
I want that bullet point on the box: punch dudes in the face whilst calling them a motherfucker. See that, fine.
Yeah,
I'm kind of interested in that. I'm kind of interested in terrible,
It's like every single character in it seems like a proper edgelord, which it kept reminding me of that gameplay demo last year where they were like, you remember when they were like, this is a mature game, and then they just had like, they showed you like the dick slider on the character creation.
Exactly, and I think that's what was off-putting. Like in summary, for if I was to like sum everything up, that maybe turn my nose to it a little bit, was there's kind of two kinds of Cyberpunk in my head. There's Blade Runner, which is perfect, and then there's like pink Mohicans and like tattoos and and that level, which is I guess edgelord douchery is kind of some good choice words, Liam.
All these like gameplay impressions and stuff really, it made it look like it's leaning more into the punk side of the Cyberpunk, I guess. Like hardcore bands screaming in the background wherever you go and stuff like that. But like,
I can't help but draw the parallels to like Rage 2. Like I still see it like that. That's what it's like them baddies from fucking Mad Max Fury Road, isn't it? If they had like bionic limbs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see what people make of the sort of downscaling of the crowds, because I can remember I've seen that demo from a year and a half ago, and then I've seen 2 conventions. I've seen an hour-long demo, which is a bit different, and every time there was quite a lot of people on screen.
Right.
So I'm wondering if, just for this to run smoothly, they knocked that down and they plan on bringing it back up, or have they scaled it down? Because it was as recent as, well, not as, I say as recent as September, but fucking hell, that's nearly a year ago.
Yeah.
Last I saw it was September, and it was quite busy.
Yeah, that's what I'm
popping off.
I'm hoping it was like, maybe some optimization issue with the demo or something, because it's not often we get big Cyberpunk styled games, and I really do want this game to succeed.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I feel like, I hope there is more you can do, especially in regards to playing like a normal person and not an edgelord who screams and shouts and just shoots people in the face.
Do you know, RPG this, RPG that is all anyone ever said about Project Red. And it's like, you need to give players the fucking capability to role play the game how they want. So if they are funneling you down this despicable bionic edge boy, then with a dick slider, do you know what I mean? Then I am going to be a bit, because like Vampire the Masquerade, I'm looking forward to that. Like ultimately, I am still going to be a vampire that's locked in, and I can just choose the type of vampire I want to be. So maybe it's like that. Like you have to be an edgy boy, but you can kind of change how and why.
Which is true to form. Like with The Witcher, you're stuck with Geralt, and he's always going to complain. But is he going to complain and help someone, or is he going to complain and
exactly. So hopefully through your actions you can show it, because otherwise, like I don't know. And I know, like especially you two as well. You like playing pretty much the good guys in a lot of games because you're nice guys. I don't want that.
What do you do? What do you do?
I'm very vengeful. Like I'm nice, but like if. Like I'm one of them people who will follow an NPC around Oblivion if they've done something wrong and kill their family. But other than that, I'm quite
like
nice.
That. What do you do? And that's a 15-year-old reference to how you behave in an RPG. I love that. Yeah. I'm on board with that.
Do you remember Fallout New Vegas? The whole point of that game is tracking down Benny, isn't it, to get your revenge on him?
Yeah.
I just, when I finally found Benny, I was just like, call it even, mate.
Yeah.
I'm just left.
Exactly, isn't it? That's kind of the behaviour. Yeah. Same with that's what I liked about Witcher, that actually, because I was reluctant, because I was just like, oh, do I have to go all the way across the map? But Geralt was like being reluctant for me. By going, oh, are you serious? So I would say 200 gold. Nah, mate, it's 300 gold.
Yeah,
but I'd do it.
And that's one of the key strengths of the game, isn't it? Because the combat isn't that great, and as an RPG, it's really good because of how open it is. Not necessarily because I don't think it's got the best, most exciting, skill trees and all this kind of stuff, like mechanically. But when you're doing your investigation bit and he sees a foot trail and the footprints kind of fade out, he'll go, oh, come on, like that, and he'll be like, he'll be annoyed because he's like lost the thing, and that's how I always appreciate that. You get a bit of that in Naughty Dog games where they're like, of course the door's blocked, or that kind of thing. But I always appreciate that.
So I was just gonna say, like, it looked like the investigation thing is back in Cyberpunk as well. They showed this a clip of something called brain dancing, where it's literally just, if you've seen the movie Strange Days, the James Cameron film from like 1995, it's pretty much that, where you experience other people's memories as like recordings. Yeah.
Okay.
It's this is one of the things I saw, so I guess that's cool that I can say that now. But the investigations, it's pretty cool. It's kind of like, like those bits in The Witcher where you see the ghosts of people and you go through their memories. It's like that. It's like it's done a lot of times, but it was
Do you remember?
And stuff and
do you remember?
Arkham.
I was going to say Batman Arkham Origins, where you could rewind the crime scenes. It looked like that.
Yeah. It's cool.
Was that in Arkham Knight as well? Was
I think it was.
I think we had.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, because I think they. Yeah, it was. I remember because I liked it, and then I played the whole game in that detective mode, and then they spent a couple of games trying to make it so you didn't want to do it. But I think that how Mike you just described The Witcher being kind of fun, not because of one thing or another. I kind of think that and hope that that's what you're saying, Liam, in it with the game being fun. I just hope if it's more than like the sum of its parts, because individually they're all like, none of them are groundbreaking. The combat's not going to be as good as this, and the RPG element probably isn't going to be as good as this. But hopefully together, everything together is going to, gel well, and it'll come to life. That's what I'm hoping. But at the moment, I'm a bit like, I like the moody cyberpunk stuff. The big coat, fucking, it's always nighttime. That sort of shit. So we're getting closer. Well, no, we're not, because it was delayed.
Well, got delayed till November, which everyone reckons it's a next gen thing. Like, so it'll be on next gen consoles like day one as well. Which means
that makes maybe
sense.
your crowd density might be a little bit better in that case if it's
maybe
if it's on the next gen. That might help.
Yeah.
All right then. Jake, you played a bit of a Yes, Your Grace as well?
I did. I certainly did. Yes, Your Grace came to the Switch 3 or 4 days ago. I had it a week early, so thanks for that, No More Robots, who sent me the game early. I asked for it because I played it on Steam and really liked it. But it's one of those like Banner Saga, Kingdom. It's nice. It's relaxing. There's good Celtic music, and you want to play it in bed. So when it came to Switch, I thought, an opportunity to finally finish this guy. So I did, and I like it very much. I wanted to talk about it for a specific reason, though. The game is very good, but I feel like if you bought it under the wrong, circumstances, you might be disappointed. However, if you know what you're going into, you probably get quite a lot out of this game. What I mean by that is that Yes, Your Grace, very simply, by the way, in case you don't know what it is one of them Reigns kind of resource management games, kingdom management games that you've seen quite a lot. A lot of the time, they remind me of the bits when you're not having a war on Total War, or in Crusader Kings when it's a little text box. The people aren't happy, my lord. Organise a feast. It'll cost some supplies and gold, but the morale will be boosted and I'll carry on paying your taxes.
Yeah.
That's the kind of game that this appears to be, right? It looks fantastic. A lot of these games are like really reliant on the text. And I think that a lot of the reason that these games kind of seem off-putting to people is because the mechanics are very, very simple. It's kind of like my first game style. Like if you go on itch.io, it's like one of the easiest things. It's like just certain binary choices that affect these 4 variables, morale, gold, and whatever. So it's quite easy to code, I guess, this type of thing. And then it'll just be down to the narrative structure of the game. That's what sells it. A lot of the time, you're probably picturing it now when I'm saying it, like you'll see a text box and you'll see like a little static cartoon character slide in, and it'll be, an advisor, and it'll say, my lord, the people need an inn. But this game really, really, really tries to hide what's behind the curtain with this fantastic presentation. So the game looks closest to probably something like Kingdom, that Raw Fury title from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Beautiful pixel art, and the music is like amazing. Probably one of the best soundtracks I've heard in years. Yeah, it's like up there with Shovel Knight for me. It's really, really, really cool. Kind of like, like, how The Witcher's got all those weird choral chanting bits, and this has got this. It's got like pretty much a Celtic feel all the way through it. So the packaging is really slick and really cool. Whenever you look at the trailer or gameplay things, maybe there's a couple of reviews that you've seen before. You're seeing the king sat at the throne room, and then you've got a line of people who are trying to inquire about getting some gold to pay for a feast for their wedding or whatever. But the game isn't actually really about that. And that's what I wanted to bring this up for. There's this whole thing with games like this about player choice and agency and meaningful choices. It's something that's like an E3 buzzword that you hear at everything. Ubisoft have got a fucking conference coming up. Play bingo with me and see how many times you can hear that word. It's really about player choice, meaningful choices. And I think that the one thing that kind of kickstarted that emphasis is that lots of games have it where your choices actually don't really matter, because there's a bit of smoke and mirrors from the the narrative team where they can make it so it doesn't really matter, because even if you played it perfectly, you'll come up against something that you just cannot beat or something like that. So a game about making choices where your choices don't matter as much as you think might sound quite disheartening, quite shit, but it's actually not, because the game is like the Banner Saga in a way. It has a strong narrative thread all the way through, and you've got this main quest line. You're the king of a small kingdom. There's a huge army encroaching on your territory and slowly moving towards you. It's like 10 times bigger than your kingdom, and you need to fight back. You've got like basically a deadline. The game's ticking down to the big event, and you have to, make relations with the noble lords that can help fund armies. But you've also got this main family-focused quest line. You've got a wife who is kind of annoyed because she's only birthed girls, and therefore you've got like daughters who have all got this interpersonal shit going on. And the game's got a cool story. I can't really say anything else without ruining it, but the game's story is the reason to play it. The choices are kind of just it's just a gameplay mechanic to pull you through. Some of them do matter a bit, like in the sense that, you might tell somebody, no, you aren't going to fund their wedding. And then a couple of weeks of in-game time later, or a couple of days of in-game time later, they'll come back and sort of say, well, thanks a lot, dickhead, but in a nicer way, because you're the king and you'll cut their head off. But you do hear the kind of response to those choices come up time and time again. But all the main narrative options you have kind of don't really matter. So I wanted to say that, and I wanted to talk about the game in that way, because I am very warm on this game and I like it a lot as a story game, not as a resource management game. I think actually it kind of fails to do what those games want to do. If you do want a game where you can create some crazy anecdotes about random things that happened only because you did this and gave away this person to this kingdom, Mountain Blade 2 has got that in abundance. That is truly anecdotal. I could play the game and have a completely different experience than Mike or Liam, but with the extra grace, all three of us will be able to talk about all of the main beats in exactly the same way, no matter how we played it. It's
more like Mass Effect or something, as opposed to like Bannerlord or Crusader Kings, because it's just if you're going to do that, if you're going to have that really open-ended, anything can happen, and these things that pop up are totally dynamic. That's like a Paradox Interactive type, like Stellaris and all that type of thing. You're just playing a game, you're managing your spreadsheet, and every once in a while you get a pop-up saying, oh, we found a fucking, abandoned spaceship, what do you want to do about it? That's a completely different game, isn't it? That's a totally different experience. So this isn't a sandbox. I guess Reigns is a bit of which sounds pretty similar, is a bit of a sandbox in the sense that you do just get shuffled a kind of deck of cards and last as long as you can. That's the aim of the game. The story is survive as king or queen as long as you can.
Well, that's the win condition, isn't it?
Sounds like there is a baked in narrative.
Exactly. And I feel like
sounds good.
No, it really is, and I just feel like they've kind of marred their chances to be like to have overall positive reviews and stuff like that, because unfortunately the kind of gameplay mechanic, the gameplay loop that they've used to keep you engaged and distracted and focused on all the small things while this big thing looms in, is unfortunately something that people who do prefer those types of games, they normally look for the choices to matter at the end. They want to be able to play this game 5 times and have it go 5 different ways. And unfortunately, you can't do this with us. But if you're buying it on the pretense that it's a story-focused game and the gameplay loop is choices, you'll really like it. And it looks amazing while it's telling you the story, and it sounds amazing when it's telling you the story. And it's a really good story. It's a really good story that goes somewhere nice, like how the Banner Saga is. So I would recommend that if you want a narrative game, but you want something that's kind of like hyper casual, A-B. There's no combat like Banner Saga, and I would recommend it. I really would. But if you're after a resource management game, nah.
It sounds good. It does sound good. It sounds like a step away from, like Telltale or something where, the story's the same all the way. Similarly, you have to act all the way through the story. That doesn't really matter. You still reach the same kind of conclusion. But it sounds like a step away because of all you've got to do is choose stuff. You don't have to walk around the scene, pick things up, talk to people, optional conversations which don't have no bearing on, on the end result. And
well, I mean, there is
like
that. You can walk around if you want. Basically, like if you're given a task, you can set somebody to go, or you can go yourself. But yeah, there's no like mandatory item inspection. But if you want to gain some background knowledge of the character, like you can check in on your daughter every day, and you'll build that. But it feels.
But it's two-dimensional. Two-dimensional, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it sounds cool. It does sound good. I'd be interested in that. I love Banner Saga and Bio.
Yeah, you'd like it, I think. Yeah.
And Reigns, and I like Kingdoms. What was the last one called?
New Lands. Oh, Two Crowns.
Two Crowns, was it?
Or... Yeah, Two Crowns is the 2-player one. New Lands was like the kind of like definitive edition of Kingdom.
Just got an update, Kingdoms.
Yeah, I've been playing it. It's fucking good.
Did it?
They did a crossover with Bloodstained, the Metroidvania game.
So those monsters come out of the portals. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds good. So that's Your Grace. And do you know? So it's on. You played it on Switch and PC.
I played it on Steam as well. Yeah, I would go for it on Switch, to be honest, just because it controls better. And it's just one of them games.
Yeah, it sounds it. All right then. Let's do some emails.
All right.
This one is, if you want to send us an email, the address is Dear Special. Sorry,
Did you forget?
I've just read. No. I've just you'll understand why in a sec. Why I've just got totally distracted. Dearspecialmoves at gmail.com. That's dearspecialmoves at gmail.com. If you want to send us an email, like Mike from Bath, who has sent us this, Dear Special Gamers, which is not it. That's not a compromise I want to even start.
No.
Mashing up Hey Gamers and Dear Special Moves.
Tried to appeal to both camps.
Yeah, and failed.
No way, Mike.
Yeah, just pissed us both off.
You're the kind of diplomat that gets stabbed by both parties at the war, the fucking...
Yeah.
The war council.
Neither warring party are that keen. Anyway, Mike.
Here we go. Dear Special Gamers. It's me again, Mike. The guy who worked in a casino in Bath that Jake couldn't believe existed. I remember that. Do you remember the casino in Bath?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, hi, Mike.
Well, thanks to the pandemic, it no longer does exist. With huge losses due to the lockdown, our parent company decided to put the Bath branch into remission, and myself, along with all the other employees, were laid off. No furlough, no severance pay, no nothing. Mike, that is a far too humorous way to break that news, mate. That's bad news. I feel very bad for all of you. That's going to be shitloads of that, isn't it? Which is pretty scary. But anyway, as a result of this, I found myself unemployed in a very turbulent job market, with nothing but time on my hands, but sadly no disposable income. Not being able to afford any new games, I decided to get my PlayStation 3 out of the attic and look through my existing backlog that I only managed to amass because of PlayStation Plus. I genuinely couldn't believe what a huge collection of games I'd built up over the years, and found myself trying to calculate the value of all my games. It seemed huge. The thing is, this got me thinking about how I don't actually own any of these games, or any of my digital purchases for that matter. I only own the license to them. If Sony were to suddenly go bust, just like the casino did, would I lose access to all these games? Same goes for in a new generation of consoles. If Sony shut the PS3 servers down, Will I ever be able to download them again, or would they be lost forever? Same principle goes for Xbox and Steam. It's quite a sobering thought. Keep up the great work. You're my favourite gaming podcast, and I look forward to all the episodes. All the best, Mike from Bath.
Thanks,
Well,
Mike.
Thank you.
good email, Mike. I hope you find a job soon, mate. I do think about that. Do you guys think about that? I look at my Steam library sometimes, and I want, time is ticking.
Yeah. Like the PS3 in particular, I put a 500 gig hard drive in mine, which at the time was huge, not anymore.
Yeah.
But it was big enough. I've got every single digital purchase I've made on PS3. It's still installed on the hard drive, so at least I've got that for a nice little backup.
Yeah, that's cool.
But Sony did a thing recent where they closed the store for the PSP, and
Right.
but you can still access your download list, so you can still download all your PSP games that you bought digitally. The problem is, however, the PSP is not compatible with most modern internet routers. So downloading games to your PSP, you either have to temporarily disable the security on your router to connect the PSP to your Wi-Fi, or you have to download it through a homebrew program that you can get on your PC, but then you need to put custom firmware on your PSP, and it becomes a whole thing. Or you can download them through your PS3, but you have to have access to a PS3.
That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, it does exist in, it exists in, Criterion Collection and stuff, in films exists because, keeping the media alive in whatever the new format is. So when, when there's a new version, whenever the next Blu-ray, which there won't be, but, whatever the next stage of media is, they've brought it over. So there's been VHS and whatever, because things, that does happen. And there's things that are on VHS that will never be on any kind of disc or streaming platform, and unless you've got a VHS player, you can't watch them. So this does exist in other stuff, doesn't it? But I think in games, it's like particularly, it's just a sign of the times. It's like the music is exactly the same. Movies, people don't, people rarely. I think people would have bought DVDs and whatever quite regularly, before Netflix in it, but why would you now? Like, you just fucking subscribe, don't you? And that's it. You don't own them. I think it's just kind of the way it is. But with games, you do buy them. You do purchase. It has the word purchase and buy now on it, doesn't it? Which makes it a little bit different, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Jake.
I was just gonna say, I don't know. I don't think like that, because if I've got a PS4 physical and I've got physical games, I own them, right? Yeah,
you own them, but if a game is 25 gig on your disc, and then you got 75 gig, you got 170 gig to go, mate. If you've got COD, do you know what I mean?
That's very, very true. And for No Man's Sky, let's say in 20 years I went to revisit that on my PS4 and I could only install the vanilla version.
Which would be cool. I'd love to actually see what the vanilla No Man's Sky is like at the moment.
I suppose you could always delete it off your PS4, disconnect your Ethernet cable, and then just try it like that. But do
you know what? Yeah, that seems like such a cool. That seems like, on No Man's Sky, you've got all these different modes when you start a new game. You've got survival mode and what. Wouldn't it be cool if they just put vanilla? If it was just vanilla No Man's Sky mode.
I don't think they want people to remember, to be honest.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time trying to get away from that.
I don't know.
Maybe that could be a laugh though. I've got it on disc, right? I got it day one, didn't I? So
they released No Man's Sky Classic. Dude,
in 15 years.
Pull a World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I know what you mean. It is a real problem, I guess.
So
I know it's a.
Yes, we're oblivious.
Well, yes. Sorry, man. There was a bit of a delay. It was funny. The timing of it is quite funny. But I just don't think of it.
Sadly, I do quite a lot because it is a bit sad, but for some games that are impossible to play in any modern way unless you've somehow kept your old hardware about. What if I want to play the original version of Resident Evil 2? my only choices are either get a PS1 and the discs, or like emulate it or something. They're my only choices, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emulation and preservation go hand in hand, and I think that's the way a lot of these games will be kept in their original form. So there's a lot of hard work gone into it. It doesn't get any love because it's borderline illegal, but there's a lot of people working very, very hard to keep games that have been abandoned from being lost to the fucking ages.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of work for people who in their spare time convert games to emulators. Shouts out to them people.
Mm-hmm. It's like people as well who keep old abandoned MMOs going by creating their own private servers and stuff.
I fucking vibe so heavily off that, I'm obsessed. I am obsessed with that. I look into it. It's proper like, how people watch like ghost programs like Most Haunted. I watched loads of shit like that, abandoned. Oh my God. It's like my favorite video on the internet. One of them is Vine Source Vinny going through a game called Worlds. It just makes me so unsettled. And it's so niche and weird. Mm-hmm. Man, I love that, And you know what? Yeah, I was looking at that new Amazon MMO and I fancy that.
Yeah, New World.
Yeah, looks sick. But a bit of a segue, so sorry, Mike from Bath.
Yeah. Thanks for the email. Good email. Good luck with the job hunting, man. We got another.
Sorry about the casino, by the way.
Yeah.
No, I don't feel that responsible, but just in case something happened. Sorry.
Maybe it was your lack of faith in its existence.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Key contributing. You never know. We got another email from Vincent Jones in Sydney, Australia, who says, "Dear Special Moves, great job, Vincent. I've started playing the online dino survival game Ark Survival Evolved. I got the game back when it was first released into early access, but I didn't enjoy it, the game loop, and it was very long-winded. So 5 years later, I've decided to give it another go. I found that this time around, I was really enjoying the game and have sunk over 50 hours into it this time. On the 51st hour, some super high-leveled player came around on his dragon and destroyed everyone's base in the easy area of the map. When asked why, he said, 'This is my server, and I won't have peasants on it.' So I attempted to leave the server. In Ark, you can take your character and all your progress to another server if you go to one of the supply drops that are spread across the map. But this high-level player fenced off all the supply drops with high-level structures that I cannot break in my current level. So I have quit Ark. Have you guys ever had to deal with this kind of thing? How did you overcome it? Long-time viewer, Vincent.
Vincent.
That is like just the evils.
South Park.
Cyberbullying. Hey, you know what? Yeah, let's go back to Tibia. Yeah, let's take it back.
Okay.
Tibia had this big problem, like very similar problem. Tibia has changed a lot now. I was looking at it this week actually, but I was because it's always at the top of Twitch, isn't it? And I was like, why? It's just some fucking next RPG that looks like a SNES game. So they've changed it a lot. The default of Tibia now is what you call like modern MMO combat, where you have to agree to a duel. But back in the day, Tibia was like open, like PvP. A level 100 could come up to you at level 8 and fuck you up, yeah, and just take your stuff, right? And there was a big, I think I've talked about this before. I know that the guys have heard it. There was a giant civil war in the game between Brazilian players and everybody else, because basically, this is what it boils down to. Okay, this is what I knew. I still speak to a couple of Tibia players, from when I was about 14, 15. We still speak now. We've got kids and everything, and we talk. It's kind of weird, but Brazilians loved Tibia because their computers, like you could go to a shop and buy a computer that could run Tibia, but you couldn't run WoW, right? And a lot of kids who didn't want to ask their mum and dad for a graphics card like me, just play it. So there was so many Brazilian players, it was super popular. And there was a language barrier. But it would get to the point where you would be hunting, like in an area designated for like level 20 to 30 or something. And a level 200 character, let's say he was a sorcerer, his real life little brother wants to play, and so it would be like areas would be signed off, so they would write notes all around there, like in little envelopes that you could click on, saying, no hunting here, like so and so hunts here from this time to this time. And if you snuck in and tried to hunt, you could see a character, and what they would do, like you'd see a character just disappear, log off, and you knew that they were logging off, Control L, clicking their big character, teleporting to you, and on Tibia you could use a spell called Xever and then type in a player's name, and you could find their coordinates. But it would be kind of rough. Like it would say Jake is to the northeast, so they'd run northeast a bunch, do it again, and it would say Jake is to the west, and then they'd know I'm to the west. And using that, you could triangulate their location and fuck you up. So people, just by getting your username, could hunt you down. So it would get to the point where there was the grind from level 80 to 100 was super, super long. And that area was absolutely cordoned off by Brazilians, yeah? So the entire rest of the international clique had to band together to, like, basically fend them off. So you'd be hunting in an area while there'd be a war. And a lot of players couldn't progress past level 80 because of Brazilian players. So, and a lot of people...
Because of Brazil's tyranny.
It would cost, in time, it's probably about 400 hours to get to level 80 back then, you know? And people would quit at level 80 because after that, and there was another thing, by the way, this is like at level 100, you had to pick. At level 100, Brazilian players would say, join our guild or die at level 100. And then if you chose die, no, honestly, God, honestly, this is true.
So they're recruiting mercenaries as well.
Yeah, at level 100, if you didn't join their guild, they would hunt you down, PK you in it, player kill you, and that's it. So there was this like rebellion force of like level 90s planning on getting level 100 all at once and then fighting back. Honestly, it's like the most mad thing. And this went on for about 2 years in real life.
That's
you
great.
can probably look it up.
That's great.
So yeah, but basically I'm saying I know like a heap of people like 400 hours into this MMO bullied off the servers. Yeah, so my heart goes out to you, innit?
Yeah, that's some EVE Online type stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty...
What do you reckon to that?
Pretty cool. That's cool. That's cool. I think I think just whenever that kind of thing happens, it's just fucking got to be so. If you're, especially if you're kind of a chilled out type of player, which I'm sure Vince is, he's just thought, do you know what? I'll give Ark another spin. He's got 50 hours in, and some dickhead has kind of walled off all the fucking.
Hey, he wasn't speaking Portuguese, was he? Watch out for that, Vincent.
Let's
all right.
not get into that kind of language. Okay, thanks for the emails, guys. If you want to send us an email, the address is dsspecialmoves@gmail.com. Do you guys want to talk about anything else before we do the new games?
No,
not really.
I don't. I'm gonna go and see a house in real life. So I'm under a real life time constraint. So I'm
luckily there is only a few seconds worth of new games. So let's do them.
It's a shame, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Little Town Hero, which was out on something last week as well, is out on PC this week on June the 30th. Little Town Hero, remind me what that was, guys.
Village building RPG made by Game Freak, better known as the developers of Pokemon. Came out on the Switch last year, got middling reviews. I don't think the PS4 version or the PC version has changed anything about that, but yeah.
Blaster Master 0, 1 and 2 are out on PS4 on June the 29th.
Actually quite fun side-scrolling shooters.
Blaster Master 0, 1 and 2.
I played the first one on Switch. It was one of the Switch launch titles. Is
that Blaster Master 0, 1 and 2? Or is it Blaster Master 0, 1 and 2?
Blaster Master 0.
Blaster Master 0, 1 and 2, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Trackmania is out on PC on July the 1st, which I've seen the word Trackmania loads, and I think it's on. Is it a PS Plus game or something like that?
Oh, it's been going for years, this game.
Is it like Trackmania Turbo or something? I've heard of that.
There's loads of them.
Yeah.
It's like it's a racer where you build your own tracks.
Cool.
So that's happening, and Iron Man VR is out on PS4.
Was this the very first game that kickstarted the very first State of Play by Sony? I'm pretty sure it was that.
I think
one,
so.
Or was it?
It's good bit of history.
It's-
Good history there, Jake.
It's meant, people who've played it as well said it's really good.
Yeah, the 5 people that have PSVR in it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Fucking.
So that's it. So that's the 86 Special Moves podcast. I have finished The Last of Us. I was going to talk about that a little bit, but I'll just say that,
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? That noise.
I don't
is
know.
what you're saying?
I'm trying to I was playing it all the way through, thinking loads of different thoughts and thinking, I want to say this and I need to say that and I need to say this and I remember. But
Can't be asked now.
Liam nailed it last week when he said, narratively, it doesn't quite, whatever he said exactly, Liam. But something bad about the
Liam
narrative.
nailed it with whatever it was he said.
I can barely remember what I said, to be honest.
Well,
But
Liam got
pretty-
a platinum yesterday, and he can
I
barely
did.
remember that he's got that.
I think the biggest... You got the platinum?
Yeah,
Did you?
yeah. I
Jesus
specifically I took a picture and I spent about 5 minutes trying to think of a pun to send in the WhatsApp.
The platypus.
And
Yeah.
the best I could come up with was the platypus. And that,
Like the platypus.
that was the best I could do at such short notice.
How could you
Jesus
forget?
Christ. Jesus Christ.
I only did it because it was a very easy platinum. It was very easy to get that platinum.
Yeah, no, the trophies are popping all the time when you're going through it, aren't they? But yeah, I mean, it's just that, it's a bit, the biggest thing is that the story is just pretty flimsy and unconvincing in terms of how it's put together. And, it's aesthetically and superficially great, really good things in it. And I'm glad I played it because I've got a new TV this year and I played it on that and it looked fucking amazing. And good music and everything. But, the one thing that they were trying to achieve, in my opinion, or what I think they were trying to achieve, it didn't, because I was laughing at some of the things I was thinking and the violence, and I was just couldn't give a shit about the dogs. This is okay. How about this as a sum up, right? This is the only game ever, right, where I have not cared about killing the dogs.
Say no more.
All of the game.
Say no
Yeah.
more.
Right.
Case closed.
All right. So that's the 86 Special Moves podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another one. Jake's going to go view a house. See you later.
See you later.